thanks for popping in with us. We don't really have like a formal interview style. We're a different kind of show. We tend to like have a conversation, have a sesh, and talk about cool shit.
That's awesome. No one wants prefab shit. Everyone wants to feel like it's authentic and in the moment, and like they're sitting in on an insider conversation. And anything that's overproduced is a little cheesy, in my opinion. So I'm all for it.
Good.
I'm trying to set the place ablaze with boiling hot water here like a dipstick. So
Yeah.
sorry.
What happened there?
Okay, so here's what's up. So I wanted to do a real intro kind of, and I'm gonna, but I was like, crisp is off because it's not working on the right mic. So now it's going to hear the water boil. So I'm going to pour the water ahead of time. And then I just spilled it all over everything. And now we're just focused on that. And I fucked it all up. So anyhow, that's what happened, Troy. So that's where I'm at.
I see you with your fellow, the kettle that you're using. Is that smart kettle? Maybe not.
Oh, it's smart. I don't know what it's called. Has it got a name on it somewhere? It's AI Cook or something. But no, it's dope. Like I set it down. You know me, I'm a vaporist, so I got to be able to dial it into the exact temperature, man, on my tea.
Yeah, mine at like 7 a.m. It gets to the right one for my pour over coffee. So when I get up in the morning, I make my dog's food with it, and I make my coffee with it, and it's awesome.
That's awesome.
Pour over coffee is the best coffee, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I love your Terps hat.
Thanks. It's from Bovita.
Yeah.
That's right.
My friend picked it up for me at the
Flowers?
No, it was the Emerald Cup thing.
Yeah.
I think you were there. I think I saw your Instagram. I think you posted some pictures and stuff from there.
Yeah, I'm a judge again this year for cartridges.
Hell yeah.
That is killer. My hero.
You vape a lot of cartridges?
130 of them in 2.5 months. It's wild.
Whoa, hold the phone.
Whoa.
What kind of cartridges? C-cells and all of them? All the different kinds or what?
All of them. It's any brand that is a licensed California regulated brand can enter. And there's like 8 judges or so. And we have a few months to go through them. And whoever wins gets a little stamp of the Emerald Cup and can, use that when they're trying to shop shop to buyers and shops as kind of like a seal of good housekeeping approval. So it's an important job, and most of it's blind, but with cartridges you can't because it's final product. But like flour and edibles, they take them out of the packaging so that it's double blind. But for us, we get to kind of see. But it's fabulous for me to be able to learn which, just from a cartridge perspective, because we make cartridges like, a lot of certain brands, you can flip them over and look underneath them, and you get to get some R&D on the different brands that are out there and how they pop or clog or leak or how they perform. So it's actually really interesting outside of just being fun judging. It's really important for the industry as a whole to have people really look at this, and scrutinize them. So they have 8 months. So it's 8 months between. Actually, technically, I guess it's like 5. So there's the harvest ball in December, and then we should be getting our judging kits soon, like mid to late February. We get the kits, and then by early May or late April, we have to put in our decisions, and then in May, early June, they have the award ceremony. So we have a few months to judge them. But I usually have friends come over and help me because you're rating it on 10 different things. It's like flavor, the effect, packaging, color, uniqueness of strain. Like it's so fucking hard. You would think that it'd be easy, and it's really not easy.
No. Wow.
I want to do that so bad. I want to get involved in that.
Yeah, I'm a judge for the Farmer's Cup too. They just sent me like over 100 flower and rosin samples that I've been working my way through. It's like a full-time job. You have to be stoned a lot.
That's me. That's me. I test vapes. We test vapes all day, every day. It's like, I love doing it. It should be so easy to test weed right alongside of testing vapes.
You didn't get in trouble over there, did you? Somebody did. Was that you?
I got arrested. Is it about in Spain? Wait, yes. How did you know about that? I didn't publicly tell anyone. Did you just hear it through the grapevine?
Oh, we get around. It's a good story if you want to tell it.
I'm not afraid of it. I just didn't want to bring more attention around it just because I'm a white woman that got off easy, and I don't want to make it like about, but it was actually fine. I don't know if you guys remember a few months or a few years ago, they had a field sobriety test that came out. The Germans made it and they were like, oh, they're going to be able to test you in the field. And then everyone forgot about it because we didn't buy it. Spain did buy that. So they swabbed my tongue. They pulled me over. They found me positive for cannabis in less than 3 minutes. They impounded the vehicle and gave me a DUI. And they detained me, but didn't technically arrest me. So it was just a 1,500 euro fee. You just go to an ATM, you pay the fee. I just had to pay an impounding thing. My friend who didn't have weed on her tongue had to go get tested to get my car out, my rental car, and it was fine. Like they're strict, but they're not punitive, if that makes sense.
So how high were you?
We were literally, the joint was still going when they pulled us over. Thank God my friend put it out this car and it fell down the drain, like the sewage drain. Or else it would have been smoking. The smoking gun would have been. And I'm a judge for 2 different rosin competitions. So Masters of Rosin and Daab, and I had all of it in my bag and they searched all of it. But thankfully, rosin doesn't look like weed and they didn't know what it was.
Oh my God.
Topical samples. I was just lying through my teeth. And I speak Spanish, but they speak Catalan. So they were yelling at me in the Barcelonian language of Catalan. I'm trying to respond in Spanish. The people with me, I had 2 Ukrainian refugees in the back that had just come from Ukraine because it was right when the war broke out. Yeah, they were at the club and I was giving them a ride home when I got pulled over. So I had 2 23-year-old Ukrainians who hadn't slept in 3 days that were like traumatized. My drunk coworker that was sitting next to me, that was like the reason I was DD. So it was wild, but I learned my lesson. They are not friendly with cannabis in Spain. Doesn't matter how much Spanibus, all the fanfare, doesn't matter. They are 100%. You cannot possess it, purchase it, use it, sell it anywhere other than inside of a club. And even that is not legal. They can raid them at any time.
But I want to hear about the backpack, because apparently you've got like all the shit you're supposed to test, right? Like that's all, like it's in there. Like you can't replace this thing, right?
Oh yeah, I had 40 half-gram samples.
Jeez.
Half-gram samples. That's a weekend.
Having known what it was, like I would have been fucked. Like if they wanted to fuck me, they could have fucked me. But like I said, white privilege maybe, or maybe they just knew Spanibus was in town. Maybe I just got lucky with who fucked with me, but I got out scot-free.
Man,
that's amazing.
Those samples, man, judges' samples, that would suck if they just seized them and you couldn't. I mean, then there goes the whole judging. You know what I mean? Like, fuck.
Well, what's even funnier is I went back, everyone heard about it, and I went back to the club to go get another set of samples. And that night, my bag got stolen.
Oh no, you were doomed.
Yeah. But now they're doing it different. Now I think that they're making everyone come to the event and test them live so that you're not just coming and picking up your samples and then fucking around for the week and then just saying whatever you like. I think that they're actually doing it kind of how the Emerald Cup flower judges do it, where they all get in one room. They decide, they take the upper echelon. They decide out of the 300 or whatever entries, they use the ones that they say have the best nose, have the best look, and kind of throw the rest away, because really it's like, why would they? Maybe they have a good effect, but if they don't have a good nose and a good eye, they kind of are able to move them apart. And then they sit down with those 10 and narrow it down to 3. And then like between the top 3, everyone just argues and they come together and they do a unanimous vote on the best one. So, and it's very like energetic. They're all yelling at each other. They're throwing things. They're lighting joints. It's like a very spirited kind of like a sporting event kind of vibe, very competitive and good sportsmanship. But it's different than everyone just in their silos, like sitting there in their living room taking notes. It's like very aggressive. People have to fight for what they believe in and, show what they know. And it's like a very involved process. So I think they're going to try to do that this year in Spain too.
That's really intriguing. And I'm really interested in participating in that. In a past life, I got involved in barbecue competition and barbecue judging. So I was in those rooms and I learned how to do all that stuff. And it's actually one of the reasons I kind of got out of competitive barbecue, because I realized that the way they judge it isn't really all scientific, and it also has like kind of toxic impacts on internet communities in barbecue space. So yeah, I kind of got out of that space because of that. But I'm really, really fascinated by the cannabis judging, and I would love to partake in something like that.
Hell yeah. Yeah. It's like, you have to like apply, and then they have to like nominate you, and then they like judge, there's judges. Yeah. It's like a real crazy, but for the Farmers Cup, it wasn't hard for to do that. So that one I can definitely get you on. But the Emerald Cup judging, if you go to emeraldcup.com, sign up for their newsletter, and they will email you next year when it's time for judges. I think it comes up around it's like early fall is when you apply. So you'll get a heads up and then you can apply.
Sweet. Thank you. That'd be badass. I want to shoot space because there's a lot of technology to consume cannabis on the market that, you know, makes it taste a lot better than smoking. So you can, you know, vaporize it and get a lot of different expressions of those same terpenes that you wouldn't get with a joint or a blunt or a bowl. And I think a lot of those judges are missing out.
Actually, but what I've been trying to do since last year when George and Eric and I were talking about it from Dynavap, I really want to get the flower judges using Dynavaps, because then you're getting the purest experience, because right now they're smoking it in joints.
Right.
And that's the best, because it's first of all, it's combustion. And secondly, you're getting the taste of just the first hit, and then what's the second, third, fourth hit, and then also the taste of the paper, and then also the butane of the lighter that you're lighting it with versus, and funny thing about Dynavap is I learned about them through Reddit. Reddit found out that people were using our wand, not this one with the water chamber, but there's another induction heater that's just the wand itself. Yeah, there you go. So you know,
we're ready.
It. Yes. So we made that adapter because of Reddit. So it's like these are connoisseurs that are like, we want to taste our shit. If I want to combust in a Dynavap, I can wait past that second click and I can fuck around. But I love that concept of like that neutrality, that real canvas, that amuse-bouche, where it's like, because even with like the Puffcos and other e-rigs that are using the ceramic atomizers, the taste of ceramic still comes through, and the ceramic itself actually absorbs product. So I just really, and that's why, I mean, this is less than 3% of our revenue. This is, everyone knows us for these, but we're really, this is 95% of what we do is disposable vapes and cartridges. So for me, the reason I use this all the time is because I really believe it's the best. It's an all glass airway, and it's not off gassing anything. So I like this because I can taste, like, I've got my Heritage Hash Co., my solventless award-winning hash made by Bell, who was an apprentice under Frenchie Cannoli. And like, for me, like, I wouldn't put this in an atomizer. I wouldn't want to put this in a ceramic bowl. That to me is wasteful and kind of disrespectful to the plant. In an ideal setting, obviously, it's like, you know, if you're in a foreign country that, you know, you're sneaking things, you need to smoke it out of a can or an apple. I don't hate on anyone for that, but we have the privilege to be able to pick and choose how we consume, right?
I'm a dab snob myself. I love the terp slurpers. I go back and forth with different versions of terp slurpers, and I like dabbling between the nuances between them. I don't like to downgrade my dabs at all.
Dude, if there's cooking shows on how 50 fucking ways to crack an egg and fold it in clockwise, like, what? There's so much literacy around gastronomy and the way we approach food science. Why the fuck would we do the same thing for this plant? We know more about outer space and deep sea than we do about the cannabis plant. Like, we owe it to her to have an intellectual and academic approach to how we, you know, utilize her. I think we're wasting an opportunity to really sophisticate in that space, you know? So I like people that are into that shit.
I love that.
Preach. I love it.
Preach.
Hey, I got a question for you.
I don't understand.
Oh,
I love it.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Siri talking back, bitch. What the fuck?
No, bitch, you don't understand.
It's a dumb question, Jerry.
I get that from everybody else. I don't need it from my watch too. I got to reprogram this fucking thing. That's fucking great. No, you're the chief impact officer, right? What is that? What does that mean you do? I like that title.
So I was the VP of sales, and what we started noticing is my entire career. So I'm an educator. I got my master's in urban education and social justice and teaching credential from USF, and I've taught in prisons and jails and public schools for over a decade. And so I'm an activist and a social justice organizer by trade and by passion. So I just got into selling weed because I've just always grown it, sold it, and smoked it. So it just so happened that I became a business person, but I have no experience in business. So I became the head of biz dev in all of these companies, but it never fully aligned with what I was really doing. The reason why people were working with me is because the ways I was showing up for the equity movement, at city council meetings, for patients, for veterans, doing education way above and beyond what a salesperson would do. So the sales role didn't make sense for me. And as they were giving me a promotion, they were wondering if they should make me like chief of staff or what. And they know that they wanted me to be a C-level executive, but they wanted to let me choose my title. And the reason I chose impact was it is a revenue driving arm. Like I still go out there and try to, find people to work with, but really focusing on causes and like being a delegate CEOs, because he's very shy and busy and we're about to go public and he's just got other things to do. So really I go out there and make sure that what we're doing is actually impacting beyond just a transactional capitalistic CPG space, and really making sure that we're supporting small businesses that need the support, women and people of color and veterans, and reminding people as we move into a very sophisticated kind of white collar space, the roots that we came from, because I am a medical patient first. And I still really believe in the medical model. And I believe that all use is medical use to some degree or another. So really having that perspective, you could call it like chief of like corporate social responsibility, or like, like people ops, or like there's a lot of different terms that people use. I just liked impact because it means that you're not just operating in a vacuum, that you're actually having measurable success in pushing this movement forward, whether it's what we're spending on lobbying or committing to NCIA or committing to the Origins Council, which supports people who were operating before Prop 64. So it's really making sure that I'm like on the ground and really doing the work that's God's work, as opposed to just the revenue work. So it's a little bit more touchy-feely, but still tied to revenue, but kind of meant to kind of make sure that there's more happening than just this like push to sell shit.
That's amazing. I love that they saw that strength in you and said, let's do something with it. That's fantastic.
That's the gift. That's the beauty. That's my, I praise the goddess every day that I'm able to be exactly myself and that they love me for it, not in spite of it.
Love that.
That's beautiful. It's inspired. It's just so inspiring.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I don't take it for granted at all, especially with everyone really hurting right now in this space. And it's 420 my time, so hey.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
Let's do them up.
Happy 420.
Happy 420. I am dabbing at a very low temperature. I'm at 300 degrees.
300, nice.
And
Go on. Do you do it in session or trigger happy?
I do, for the first one, I do the auto, and then after that, I do it manually and trigger it.
Okay.
Good question. Wait, so what was your question though? You had a question, and before Siri interrupted you. Oh, that was the question. The chief impact officer. That was it.
No, she whiffed. No, because you were doing the perfect segue for me. Because you're leading right in is in 2021 you were named the Cannabis Culture Advocate of the Year by Cannabis Chamber of Commerce, and I assume that ties into a lot of what you just said, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how I got nominated for that. People nominated me and I found out that I won like after I had won. I think that people just want to see people that actually have a tie to what's going on, instead of just like they saw something cool on LinkedIn and wanted to leave their Amazon job. I think that that's the most important thing that resonates with me, is that, like I said, I'm an educator. Like this is not a career for me. I don't see this as like trying to climb the corporate ladder. I'm not interested in making money. That's not what motivates me. I want to see access is my why. I want this plant as safe, as potent, as pure, and as widely accessible and affordable as fast as possible. This is our birthright, and it's a total lie. It's one of the biggest conspiracies of our time to rob us of our medical sovereignty in the name of capitalism and trying to control it. So for me, I think that that's what comes through with people, is you can be hungry and want to build something and motivated without being thirsty and desperate and transactional and having an altruistic perspective instead of having an agenda behind it. I think that that's a very sore point for a lot of us that come from this space. Is we've seen a lot of people with suits come in and try to capitalize on a situation without really honoring the roots and really setting a place at the table for the roots. And what does it mean to advocate for cannabis culture? I mean, I'm consuming, I'm sharing my past. I share openly. I'm transparent. I think transparency is a really important thing, and that kind of makes people feel like they can relate to me and trust me. And when I support a person or a cause or a business, or I'm judging, or I'm posting something on my story, or I'm showing up at an event, they kind of trust that I've vetted that those people are in alignment with like the greater overall values of, dignity and, support for the plant medicine and honoring of, the goddess energy and the humility of working with a plant medicine and all of the indigenous, expressions that have been behind it and the history behind it. Whether it's, Dennis Perone and Brownie Mary from a historical perspective, or really looking at how this has been used in shamanic practices for a long time. Just the awareness of that, bringing that to the consciousness and not erasing or hurrying past it or trying to focus away from it, but knowing that not only is there a seat for that at the table, but they actually built the table that we're all sitting at. And just like we say to respect the ocean and not turn your back on her, I feel the same way about cannabis. I feel like the people that are the most cocky and the most disingenuous are the ones that you see in the PR newswire and in the news losing their asses on the stock market or closing their doors. You're seeing MedMen in the news. You're seeing a lot of bad actors that I like to say the trash is taking itself out. They didn't come in with love in their hearts. They didn't come in with respect in their minds, and they didn't come in with peace in their spirit. And the plant just will bounce you. She doesn't need that. She's got gatekeepers, and we're pretty staunch.
Wow, I love her, man. This is great. I gotta go back. I'm going to go back and listen to this 4 or 5 times.
And we're here and we're in this space and we're kind of metropolitan minded. We're on media, we're in cities. And I'm just thinking about my friends in Trinity County who have been dying from drug overdose and shooting themselves because they're 3rd generation growers who their farms have been completely, zoned out of a commercial space. And they can't do what they only thing that they've ever known. Their whole ecosystem and micro, economy has collapsed. And so I always try to like bring that, even like, like you're saying, preach, like I kind of do want to bring that, like, this is God's work. This is the voice of reason in a time of darkness. This is like a righteous cause that we can get behind that brings together all creeds and colors and nationalities and races and genders and ages. She's the great equalizer. So that's kind of why I get so like hype on it, is because it's up to us to share this with the people. Like, I don't know where your listeners are all coming from, but I'm sure that they're probably not, 3rd generation growers in the Emerald Triangle of California who have built all the strains we're talking about, all the consumption methods, all of the, the terpenes and the things that we love so much that make us engage with this plant in such a romantic and, romanticized way. We owe to them. And it's just, it's the same way that we've done to Black folks in music culture and women in the boardroom. Women will say something and a man recycles it and it's his idea. We are hurting ourselves by not composting all the beauty that brought us into this space, into what we're growing and bringing that. It's like, there's so many things about the traditional market that we need to incorporate and that worked really well. And there's so many things about regulation and safety that are absolutely key and that we've been absolutely lacking in the unregulated space. It's not either or, it's both and more. And that abundance mindset is what cannabis embodies. She's abundant as fuck. She always grows extra. She always grows extra for the thieves. That's why I have a home garden. I've been growing since I was 11 years old. You always grow extra for the thieves, whether it's a caterpillar, your neighbor, the feds, powdery mildew. She can do it. Listen and watch her. She's prolific. She's potent. She wants to express in stinky and sticky ways. You have to stop her with all your might to turn her from not turning to CBD into THC. She wants to give. She wants to share. She wants to open hearts and minds. Let her get out of her way. Be a conduit for her. Don't strap her down and rape her and try to make her into a money-making machine and pimp her out. Oh, she ain't.
I have a hard time thinking the plants that are indoors getting farmed for miles are happy. You know what I'm saying? That can't be right. You know what I mean? We're just doing what we do to chickens and cows, and now we're doing it to plants. I'm like, what the fuck? Just put the formula on it.
My indoor plants are happy. They're bug free, Jerry. I give them as much sunlight as they can.
And where do you probably go? Where does everyone go when they don't want factory farmed? They want craft small local, which is the farmer's market, which is what Frenchie Cannoli always says. Appellation of origins. If you can find small craft growers who are using the terroir of the land, the soil, the air, the water to make this beautiful thing, just like with wine. You go to Bordeaux for Bordeaux. You go to Champagne for Champagne. Let's lean into that. Let's see what kind of magic we can make when we really do it right.
Gainesville Green, baby. That's where we're going. Go to Gainesville for that.
I would love to see cannabis explored at that level, like the way that the grapes and the wines have developed over the years. Because cannabis can grow in a lot more climates than grapes can, and doing the whole chemo type thing, like using the local lands and local minerals, would create so many different varieties. Even if everybody grew the same strain, everybody could grow Blue Dream across the whole nation, and everybody's Blue Dream would taste different.
Yep, I love that.
That's dope.
That's what I'm saying is like that's the abundance mindset of seeing her in her diversity as economic growth and love as being lucrative, as opposed to being like, if it ain't purple and high THC, fuck it, even though it might cure epilepsy or stop seizures, or like if you find the chemotype or the cultivar that is drought resistant, that can grow in Palm Desert, let's utilize that instead of trying to fit a round peg into a square hole. Let's have fun with her uniqueness and her flexibility and her dynamism. Let's work with her and see what she can do. When you see someone with an athletic capability, you don't try to shove them. Even football players do ballet. She can be a badass football player in the NFL, but she deserves to do some sound baths and ballet on the weekends to make sure her hips are open and her breathing is right. Why can't you have both? Why can't we honor and be slow and be craft and be small with things while also scaling and growing and distributing and marketing? We can do both.
I agree, and I think everybody needs a good sound bath.
Right.
Nothing better than this sound.
There you go.
You guys, can we do an ASMR show that's just the sounds that we make, like the sound of us picking, like even just this, like the grinder, the bubbles, the sound of sizzling dabs.
We've talked about this. It's an idea that keeps reoccurring. We should definitely do it.
I've been practicing my whole life for this moment. Listen to my voice. It's made for ASMR.
You need one of those fancy like stereo mics where you can move from one side to the other.
You can hear me licking my lips.
Man, I bet you'd have so many followers on Twitch if you did that.
Yeah, I've been amazed to see how many ways people have been able to monetize the internet, especially in the realm of cannabis. But I will say, thank God, because I come back from these trade shows. I'm going to Europe soon, and like no one has access to what we have. Like just Bell's hash, like solventless, craft grown, like out of an all glass airway that's like completely like, it's just, we owe it to the world to not flaunt it, but just expose, like, look what we're doing. You guys, I can't stop looking at this poster of Frenchie, and I have to just, he's just calling to me.
Who's this?
We're going for a ride. Oh, there's Frenchie.
Nice.
Holding, that's a temple ball. That's
Wow.
a pressed ice water hash ball. Look at his face. Frenchie Cannoli is an Italian Frenchman who studied in Afghanistan and all over the world for 20-something years, studying with the Hashishans who invented this type of hash, where they walk through the fields, they go like this, and it's all finger hash. Very speedy, very heady, very I forget the name for it, but it's more of what we would consider like a sativa, or like has a lot of terpenes that are kind of give you more of a rush. And then came back and kind of perfected it for more of the body high by using ice water and ice bags and sifting, all solventless unless you consider water a solvent. And His movie, which everyone should watch, which is unbelievable. It took 5 years, and they filmed it. If Prop 215 was right here, or sorry, Prop 215 into 64 was right here, they had like a couple years of the film before and then after, and it is the best snapshot of what happened in California cannabis I've ever seen. It was kind of by accident. They were filming Frenchie, but he's working with small farms and had a brand, so it happened to show really our whole on the world stage. And it's on April 27th. It's called Frenchie Dreams of Hash, and on April 27th, it's going to be finally streaming. So you guys can just Google Frenchie Dreams of Hash, and on the 27th, you can. Well, I've seen it twice in theaters. He's a very close friend of mine. Him and his wife Kim, very dear friends, and he is up in my office. There's two people, well, really three. There's two people that have passed. Another one is Alex Zavel. He was instrumental to founding the very first, which every single other equity program copied and pasted. The first equity program in the world was in Oakland, California, and me and Alex and a very small group of people, some of which later became Oak Deck, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion. Some became Supernova Women, which was the first Black and women of color run and focus group right when legalization happened, and not leave them behind. This was at the crux of the only racial justice conversation that had ever really been had at a major scale, was in Oakland, California, home of the Black Panthers. Oakland, okay. He passed at 25 from. He just got into law school from self-inflicted suicide because of what was going on in the city council and how corrupt Oakland was in the rolling out. He was so overwhelmed as a young person, underslept, and they assumed took his life. These are people that have committed their lives. And then also Zumbi, a rapper, Zionai, who was just murdered, was also in the cannabis industry and a huge proponent of cannabis over this toxic drug dealing lifestyle, and brought that into his music in the Bay Area. These people I carry with me everywhere, because without them, and Dennis Perone and Brownie Mary, who are both passed, and Pebbles Trippett, who God bless her, she is in her twilight days. She's still with us, but she's the Trippett standard. The reason why we can drive from one place to another with weed. We're standing on the shoulders of giants, and our ahistorical, myopic approach really scares me. It's really, I'm a Jew, and never in my life did I think that I would see anti-Semitism coming out the way that it has. Like, we just had this shit like 50 to 70 years ago. I'm a history teacher. I taught the Holocaust to high schoolers who had never met a Jew. These are kids in Hayward. They're Black and brown folks. They never met a Jewish girl. They didn't know about World War II. They don't know what the hell I'm talking about. It's radical work to tell people where not to step in a pothole that you've seen take someone out. That's why I go to Europe. That's why I warn them. Get a trade organization together, talk to each other, find out who the big pharma guys are, sit down and actually have a plan. Don't do what we did. Jersey's doing it right. What did Oregon and Colorado and Cali do that they fucked up? Look at the playbook and bring the goodness forward and say, we love this plant. I don't care who you are. Let's do this right.
Why is it so hard?
Why is it so hard?
You know what I mean?
Proof of concept. We have the SOPs of best practices. Proof.
It just seems like they trip over themselves all the time, though. Every time you turn around, I guess just the dollar. I feel like a lot of it is a response to the heart opening that I've seen happen. You know what I mean? Like, I'd say in the last 15 years, I've really seen people change and dialogues change and hearts open, and then you see the old response kind of want to swing back in and slap it back into place. Or I keep hoping it's like the last throes of a dying thing. You know what I'm saying?
That's literally what I call it. That's exactly what I say. It's the dying gasp of patriarchy, and it's always this flash of, right before the dawn. It's super dark, Peace, bruh. We're good. That's the thing. People like us are holding on. This is the thing. If you're buckled in and you got your people and you're good with God, you have you're good, and your mind is on right, and you're ethically in alignment with what's the highest truth for all things. Like I said, the trash will take itself out. But people are losing patience. Not everyone has what we have to be on a, Thursday night for you guys. Like, no one's getting paid for this. Like, this is not tangibly
monetize. I mean, maybe if it's on YouTube or whatever, but that's not really what brings us here. None of us are getting a paycheck from doing this with each other. We don't want to be silent. We believe that we've been chosen to steward this plant and that our voices are manifest. That's a big, heavy thing to hold for us. That's a lot. That's like a backhanded compliment. It's like a thank you, F you from the universe. Like, okay, we're strong enough to care that we can do it, but it's a lot, and there's a brain drain, and we're losing a lot of really good people right now who can make as much money and have a 9 to 5 and go home to their kids and not be on WeChat with China and on Instagram wars and having to watch their back all the time, no matter where they're going. Every kind of person's trying to come at us for every kind of time. It is the sketchiest thing.
How can we be better as a community to like better support each other? And
In the comments below, drop some ideas, please.
Right on.
Let's start a movement for like unfucking the industry.
It's such a cool industry too. Like I love the vape industry, and you know, I've seen some big companies kind of come and rise and fall and come and go, and I like it because it's always been dominated by smaller companies, but now it's getting bigger. Look at you go, man. Is that how you judge them? Just okay, here we go, 3 and 1.
Never.
She's hardcore on those pins,
I
man.
can tell the difference.
Do you ever get a chance to hit up on Flower anymore? Because you got so much concentrate judging that you do. I'd imagine you know what I'm saying?
Flower? Oh, I get sick every time I smoke in like Vegas. I don't know if it's the passing with other people or if it's like the recycled air and dehydration and the atmospheric pressure and being on all the time. It's like you're adrenalized and you're not drinking enough. You're not you're not sleeping. So Flower just like gives me ear, nose, and throat things when I'm like at conferences, when I'm like talking and out all night and in rooms of it all night. And because I like work, it's like an occupational thing. So when I actually smoke it, I notice that I'm way more prone to ear, nose, and throat infections when I'm burning it. I could dab and vape all day. Yeah, all day. I love dabbing and vaping. The only thing you have to hydrate.
Yeah, right on. In fact, my water's over here. Let's get up on that. I'm feeling it. So you'll vape some Flower. I guess you got the Vap caps you like to do.
What do your people want to know? What's like the yummiest little thing that people can actually is like actionable, like Monday morning, like what can we do? What can we inspire people?
Right on. Okay.
Like real action, because everyone just listens to this and they're like humming and hawing. Like what can people like if we're exciting people, like where can they put their love and their cool talent? Like, I'm not a talented person. I'm just passionate. I just tell other talented people to do and it works.
Sometimes passion is a talent.
Well, yes, that's what my partner says.
Yeah. Have you always been passionate? Have you always been passionate? Did you tap into it one time, or what's up with you?
It's my soul. I'm 100% Ashkenazi Jew. I'm the end of the line of Holocaust survivors raised by 2 Scorpio New York Jews with like more love in their hearts. And I was boycotting things and social justice and super hyper liberal. Like, no, I'm a weird one. I'm special. I literally took the little yellow school bus. That was my school bus.
I want to know about the first time you fell in love with the plant.
Oh, I fell in love with the plant in 1996 when everyone had it because it was in the clubs, and we got it in these little green saran wrap brownies, and it was Prop 215 stores. And I mean, I always remember like smelling it around where everyone's parents kind of were growing it. Like it was never a drug to me. It was just like anything else that it was a plant. Like I saw when you see it grown, the propaganda doesn't get to you. So when I saw Dare, I was like, yeah, all of that else tracks maybe with the other stuff, but not so much with the weed. And I just smoked it. I've been smoking it since I was in 6th grade. I've been selling it since I was in middle school. Ever since, I mean, I really fell in love with it, I think, in college at UC Santa Cruz, like smoking weed. I was like, oh, I'm getting into this hardcore. I immediately got into prison abolition work. I graduated with feminist studies degree under Angela Davis and went into prisons and jails and worked specifically with the ACLU and the drug war that was waged on women of color. Super passionate about that. Worked in prisons and jails around that and always around cannabis, like, I was SSDP and normal. I was on the chair or whatever, like one of the presidents of the chapter in Santa Cruz, and was just super hippied out, and then was like, oh, Santa Cruz is full of like white, well-meaning activists that are kind of armchair activists, and they don't really put their money where their mouth is. So I moved back to the Bay where I'm from and went to school for urban education and social justice because I wanted to work in the hood and prisons and jails, and found myself in cannabis doing it full time. So I feel like that smoking it always makes me a good advocate of it, because I am a patient. Like, I have period cramps, I have fibromyalgia, I have degenerative joint disease, I have a really unique and rare like endocrine disorder called adrenal hyperplasia, which basically is an inflammatory that's why I talk so fast too. I'm always adrenalized. Yeah, that's like my I'm a weed smoker. I was a patient from the time I was 18. I was going into clubs, BPG. Like, this was back in like the early 2000s, late 90s, when people were not like really aware of cannabis as a consumer market, and I was just surrounded by it. You know, I sold broker going up to Trinity County and doing every single break in school. It's like, okay, planting in spring, tending in summer break, Thanksgiving you go and you know, basically chop down or around, you know, Halloween, and then you're trimming all through Christmas, and then you sell during spring break and sell out until the drought, and then you go up to plant. That was always what I did. And back then, instead of paying you, you could also take the cannabis down, and I was getting it for more than I would have gotten if I was getting paid, because that was back when it was really nice pricing for beautiful, organic, outdoor craft cannabis. So I bought my house off of that. I put myself through my master's program and my credential program through that. And I've been an independent woman, unmarried, no children, supporting myself since I was 18 years old off of weed, homie. Ain't that dope?
Fucking love her, man. That's living the dream, motherfucker. I love it.
I'm embalmed in weed. That's what I
You're
do.
embalmed in weed.
Nice, man. Have you got the hots for any other plants like shrooms or jungle medicine or anything like that?
I do have the hots for it. Also, before I talk about that, I do have to shout out that the other vape that I never mentioned is Ispire's 2-gram vape. That's hella cool. It's Year of the Rabbit. Oops.
That's pretty dope. What kind of pin is that though? That's a what?
It is a disposable vape, so it's 2 milligrams. It's got 2 grams.
Is that the weed this time?
This is Delta 9, but these are not legal to sell in the Delta 9 market. This is just a sample, but these are for the Delta 8 market.
Breaking every rule you can find, girl. Oh, that's great. I got one of those right over here too.
Huge fan of Wachuma. I believe in San Pedro's healing abilities, and I really love mescaline and mescaline containing plants. I think they're magical and they're beautiful if you follow the shamanic path of using them and using them in ceremony with people who understand them. Unless you're microdosing. That's a caveat for all of this. If you're microdosing any of these things, unless it's coming from like the Sonoran desert toad or peyote, or it has some kind of issues around sustainable gathering or harvesting, microdosing is aside. Yeah, I think people can, you know, you have to have intentionality, but you don't need to be in ceremony to microdose mushrooms necessarily, in my opinion. So like in macro doses, if you're doing journey work, I believe DMT containing plants and ayahuasca are extremely powerful when used in intentional settings, especially because it only is needed a few times, just like psilocybin and other psychotropics that are really intense that can help with ego work or socio-emotional reprogramming in, you know, your neuropathways and trying to break your brain a little from bad habits. Like those only need 2 to 3, and even MDMA in macrodoses too. In intentional settings or iboga only need 1 or 2 really ever, not more than 3, even sometimes with ketamine. So if people are doing it right and really smart with good people and good medicine, like you can buck something off you pretty quick if you need to. If you're in a crisis mode where you want to die or you think someone wants to die, I think psychedelics are absolutely life-changing. I will caveat it with, if people have undiagnosed or know that they have psychosis in their background or their family's background, it's really important to like approach it from, you know, with a doctor or something like that, because it can cause, in some cases, or many cases, if there's psychosis, but not everyone has psychosis. And most people who have it or have it in their family know it. So if you're like adopted or like you don't know that much, or like you think that there might have been undiagnosed stuff, like microdose stuff first, because if you drop acid or you eat a bunch of mushrooms or you drink a bunch of cactus, you could break your brain permanently. And I've seen it, unfortunately.
Damn, you've seen it. Okay. I did the frogs last year myself.
Nice.
Yeah, Cambo and Bufo, and I just threw up everywhere every time, all over everything.
That's the point. That wasn't the only thing you were probably doing either. You're out both ends if it's working right. It's a bile purge.
The Bufo, I was hoping to get a little more hallucinogen type, but I just threw up everywhere, so I purged on that as well. So
Means you need more. That's why you see people with 100 dots down their arm.
well, that's the Cambo. The Bufo was the stuff we were smoking. Yeah, so the Cambo, no, that stuff I did plenty of that.
Nice.
I'm a believer in that shit, man. Like, I
Yep.
mean, I was throwing up toxins and emotions. Like, I mean, the heart walls were coming out. It was crazy. I got my mom back last year because of a couple of Bufo ceremonies, as far as the things that were just peeled out of me and I had to work through that I was never going to face. So it was life changing. I've had a fantastic time with my mom ever since. It's been great.
That's the shit. That makes me so happy, dude. That's what I live for. I live for that story.
The Bufo, not so much. They just kept giving me the pipe because and I kept going back under and just coming back and throwing up, going under and coming back and throwing up. Eventually, they quit giving me the pipe. We were done with that.
You're positive that it was a really solid source?
Yeah, because I did it with some other people, and every one of us had a different experience.
Oh, yeah.
But one of them had the one we were going with. Like the one who went first is the one we all wanted to be like.
And this is the thing.
Or no, she was last, and she was scared to do it.
Oh, and hers was the best.
I'm throwing all up over everybody, and she's like, I don't know if I want to do that shit.
It's plant medicine, though. That's the thing about this plant, is like the lesson is in that. Because same thing, like my partner and I did ayahuasca at the same time, and we had totally different experiences. He super felt it, all this experience, and I felt for me, I felt nothing, and I drank more than anyone else. And like sometimes the medicine welcomes you, sometimes I just have a different system. I'm different. Like I've never blacked out on any drug. I've never passed out, or I've never been inebriated. Like I get sick to my stomach before I ever like get too fucked up on anything. I don't know if it's something because of my hyperplasia or what it is, but like I've never gotten drunk. I've never like gotten so high on weed that I like fainted on. Like, when, you know, like when people like do these things, I've never, even on macrodoses of like even Wachuma circles, I'll drink more than anyone. Like
You're trying.
I think maybe I have a control thing. Maybe my spirit won't let.
That's what I feel like I had with the Bufo, as I couldn't let go.
You don't need it. Sometimes I'm not called to certain things. Like certain things I haven't been. I love LSD. LSD is one of my favorites, and mushroom microdosing mushrooms. That's my favorite ways to engage in the well, LSD itself is not an entheogen. Well, lysergic, the acid is, but the way we take it is not.
Well, I'm delinquent on my mushrooms. I need to get back on some mushrooms. I got some here. I just need to get on it, man. So
Same. Yeah. I like microdosing them.
You guys, it's so simple. You already have a little weed scale, I'm sure, for something or other.
Right there.
You literally take a coffee grinder, whatever mushies you can get, as long as they're good. Find out what strain it is, because poundage or weight doesn't matter with that, because you could have penis envy versus golden teachers, and it's 5 times to 10 times more strong. So don't go by that. It's a quarter gram, whatever. You have to know how strong it is, and then you know how much it is. Put it in a coffee grinder. One of those, just get all the twigs to be as small as they can. Try not to let the powder out everywhere. It's magic, right? And then you knock it, and you take a little brush and you put it into a bowl, or like you can turn that piece around, and then you just get veggie capsules and you fill them up and you weigh them so that they're each 0.1 or 0.2 or 0.3, and you fill them up it's just like a little 20-minute project, and you fill them up in a little bottle, and you made your own little capsules at home.
You do the stems too, or just the caps?
Everything all together. The whole stem cap thing, it's a little different, but it's not as different as we think. They're figuring it out. That's a whole nother thing. You guys need to get Reggie on your show. Reggie Harris from Oakland Hi-Fi. He runs basically the Emerald Cup for weed. He does the psilocybin cup. So he works with CW Labs and a bunch of different labs. And they have their own Hi-Fi labs that they do analytics, and they're creating standard data sets to understand all of the strains, all of the psychoactive components, non-psychoactive components. There's terpenes in that plant too. They're creating a whole world around that so that they can have salient regulations when they go to market with psilocybin edibles. And now at Champs, they have Amanita muscaria, which is that famous red and white polka dotted mushroom.
Yeah.
Found a way that it was, it kills you. They separate out this toxic from the psychotropic, and now they're selling them through convenience stores because the Farm Bill has loopholes, and we all like to work that loophole. I'm not condoning Amanita muscaria. I haven't really tried it fully myself yet. I hear that it's just like every other kind of BS thing that's coming to market that's like untested. I wouldn't recommend anything you can get from a convenience store. Any of the rip-off Viagra, all that stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
But these mushrooms, on the other hand, without the dots, right? They took the dots out, I guess, is what they separated the dots. Is that what they did?
Exactly. Perfect way to
Yeah.
say it. They
That's
separated
it,
the dots. That's hysterical.
Get those
They
dots out. We're rolling. That's
paint
hilarious.
the red. Do you guys
So
remember
you
in
get 'em
Alice
with-
in Wonderland, they paint the white roses red because the queen's crazy?
Oh yeah. Off with their head. Off with their head, man.
That's what's happening. It's Alice in Wonderland, you guys. It's real. It's really happening in real time. And that's why we got to just be like, okay, how important is making money and building companies to public safety and proper stewardship of the world and its future? That's the question, is like, where's that dance between the root and the suit? It's just like an intentionality around anything, right? It's like, it's our food, just like our food should be our medicine. Like when I make a joke about being embalmed in weed, like I hella feel that. It's like you have to commit. You have to commit to like condition your cannabinoid system. It's a commitment to be a stoner.
It is really. Like,
Right?
that's actually a good point. Like we've talked about some of this stuff in the past, Jerry, where we were making content for that stoner commitment, for like how to be a productive stoner, how to
Mhm.
maintain your shit. What's the different ways to live a better stoner life.
Cool people that do it though. There's a lot of sophistication in this space. Like there's people making big deals right now and like turning a lot of business. It's crazy out there, the business scene right now.
Yeah, of course. There's an angle. There's a thing. If there's a flow, somebody's casting a net into it. You know what I mean? So
I'm motivated by the people. I like connecting with people. I like gathering the communities together and bringing people together and seeing the connections that are made. The other night, I have a Discord, a 420 Vapes on Discord, and the other night, 2 people came into the Discord, and there were something that was a little different about them. They had gone to each other's house. Like one person was at the other person's house. Like they lived hours apart, but they had met for the first time. So like they were like in the same room, and they were like flip flopping. They were fucking with us. So like they were showing like, hey, look at us. We actually had a meetup. So people are like getting together from within the community, and there's been a dozen of them or so by now. But it's just really cool to see all the different meetups that happen from the content that we create. And I that's what motivates me. I love seeing that. Cheers. I want to say I have a dog named Luna, and
Aww.
you guys are kindred spirits. Like she has such a wonderful spirit as well.
Sweet.
And I gotta say, you guys very similar spirits. I love it.
Prove it.
Prove it.
Photo or she doesn't exist. If you don't have a baby photo around, she ain't not your doggy. You don't have a
No, I
screenshot.
totally do. On the Facebooks, and
puppy pictures are bust, bruh.
I actually made a video with my dogs this month or last month.
Dexter's around a lot too, man.
Yeah,
Dexter's
they're in the
all
Troy
over.
and Jerry intro.
That's true. We could play the intro and you'd see them.
Yeah. Oh my God. Thanks, Jerry. That's what we can do right
Here
now.
we go. Bring in the dogs. You'll see my
Where's-
cat too.
Troy and Jerry.
man. There you go.
They're fresh. I
Yeah, they're
love
awesome.
Yeah, they're
so
great, man.
they're the best. Make my heart sing. Animals are life.
Right? Fucking great, man. Percy's been sick for the last week. He's finally back. He scares me every time he's sick. You know, they just don't eat. You don't know. They can't talk. I don't know what's up.
Actually, I just picked my dog up from surgery. She's
Oh,
down
man.
there and I should check on her.
Oh,
What kind of
yeah.
surgery? Is everything all right?
She got extractions.
Okay.
She had an accident with her leg.
Ow.
It hurts.
Yikes.
She's a bulldog. She's just like that, you know? Strong-headed and just it's good though. It's like it's a positive reinforcement constantly. Like the dog is it's a really good leader for me.
Yeah. Is it like one of those traditional bulldogs, or is it like an English or American or French?
She's staffy boxer with a little bulldog. She's mainly
Uh-huh.
she looks like a white pit boxer.
White
She looks
pit
a little
box.
pig. She's like a little 50-pound, like kind of pity, kind of boxer, pink,
Okay.
albino kind of.
Like a
Picks.
like a
Picks.
big pug.
Picks.
I don't know if I can zoom in, but
I love bulldogs.
everyone does. That's why she has a problem. It's because of her teeth. That one's new.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Dino and Baloo, they're half brothers.
You got 3?
Yeah.
Adorable.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not the best picture of them,
They're
but
so
she's way
cute.
bigger than she looks. Piggo. She's a little piggo.
She's the one with the surgery?
How would you describe her? Piggo.
It
I don't know. What would you call her?
works. It works.
She looks stoned.
I love my
From that
baby.
angle. From that angle, it's a piggo.
Was she stoned?
I love you guys. Daab, thank you for sponsoring. You guys are incredible. You've revolutionized the game. George, Eric, the team, major visionaries, and always in a worldwide way. To Spencer and David and all the crew, they show up in a really earnest and thoughtful and true and appreciative way, and I really applaud them for being successful without having to be like snaky.
Yeah.
Right on.
It's sad that you have to say that these days, but like wholesome people are really close to my heart, and I will always shout them out simply for just being good business people without being greedy and like just being. They always like take care of people. They're very like working class mentality, but they want to scale and they know what to do with money. They just need it. You know what I mean? I mean, everyone needs it. I'm not saying that they need it more than anyone. Everyone does, but
That's a really good way to describe Dynavap. Like that's
oh yeah.
wow.
They're pivotal. They're pivotal, and it's really it was being held up by a small group of people and things, and we've lost a lot of loved ones close to us. It's like a lot. Everyone who's supporting the community is so important because these things can't go away. Like these are if we can make it through whatever this like what you were just saying about the dying of the light or that the last little hurrah. If we can all make it, including people like Dynavap, like we're good.
The dip.
Right on.
And the Dipstick Vapes folks and everyone. Who's the V?
Planet of the Vapes.
Oh, right. Okay. I don't think I've seen that mark. It's cool mark.
Yeah. Pretty cool logo. Little.
It's like that MC Escher style V.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Gorgeous.
I like that. Could mess with those.
Guys.
Well, I love the Ispire shirt and the logo. That's dope. There you go. Is that where I mean, you guys sell directly to customers, or what do you are you mostly through other outlets?
Yeah, we usually do master distros.
Okay. All right, perfect. So just look everywhere for it. That's perfect. All right, sweet.
Cool.
Want to know more about Ispire? You can go to getispire.com. That's getispire.com. I'm Luna Stower. You can just Google me, LunaStower.
Any social media stuff so you want to drop or no?
Luna_Stower on Instagram. That's my main one. Luna_Stower. You have to type it out because I'm always shadow banned because for some reason, even though I have no intention to promote the use of or sale of any illegal substance, that is not what I am here for. They ban me even though I'm purely educational and just supporting my lifestyle. It's really sad.
Can relate.
I have to like swipe out or mute like any mention. I have to police myself. It is toxic relationship with the IG. Sucks. That's why I'm like, ugh, fine, Twitter. You could be cool for like a day. I'm gonna stop posting it and celebrating it. Get that cannabis money. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm not against conscious capitalism. Let's just do it with the right people in the right way at the right time, and let's just do it right.
Are you on Twitter?
Nah, I'm too old for that.
What? No, you're not.
She's got lunastowers.com, man. That's all you need. You just go. They don't have to Google it. You just go to Lunas.
If you need to know, you'll know. You know?
Okay.
Got it. That's awesome.
No, it's not like that. You want to see the rest of the picture? Look at me in my outfit.
I love it, man. You're ready to roll. Looking good. Sweet. Well, thanks for hanging with us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
You guys. Yeah, hit us up if you want to make vapes. And hit us up if you want to make plans because we're out here creating an army to unfuck the cannabis industry.
Fucking A. I like that.
Unfuck the cannabis industry.
We're going to be out in Barcelona in March. We're going to be in Berlin in June for ICBC International Cannabis Business Conference. I'm speaking at both.
Whoa.
They're related to Spanibus, which is in Barcelona in March every year. It's a really big trade, like an industry and a consumer festival that happened at the same time in Barcelona, Spain. And then in the end of June, there's Mary Jane Festival, which is pretty consumer focused and kind of HHC focused. But there's ICBC, which is its own proper trade show and like party kind of thing that happens in Berlin.
Badass.
So if anyone's in those places, come holler at us because Europe's popping off and we have people on board that we're working with that we're really proud to kind of be moving forward with. It's exciting time. It's also terrifying because weed's coming to Europe, kind of. But kind of. They're like flirting with it. And we're like, okay, we'll play this awkward game. What do you want to? Okay, how do you want to do this?
There you go, man. Take the invite, peeps. That's dope.
This has been badass. You are a badass.
You're a badass. That's why we say this way up. We're always trying to aspire to aspirational things. It's cheesy because it's true.
No, I appreciate the insight. That's legit. That's awesome. All right, thanks.
You guys are stoners. Look at you.
Yeah, man. We're all...
Guys.
Somebody end it.
What's up, Troy?
Happy Friday, Jerry.
Good to see you, man.
Whew, good to see you too, man. Good to see you too. It's been a week.
I'm ready for a good weekend, man.
I'm ready for a good weekend too.
I'm gonna get really fucked up.
I got to hit that thing.
A pretty special piece, man.
Got some vapes to beat up.
Vapor streaming, just what you needed.